In a quiet village surrounded by golden fields and dusty roads, lived a woman named Amina. Her world was smaller tiny mud house, a broken clay stove, and a courtyard where she grew a few flowers. Yet her heart was vast and full of love for one person, her only son, Rayyan. Amina had lost her husband when Rayyan was just 5. Life after that became a constant struggle. She washed clothes for others, stitched old garments, and even went hungry sometimes just to make sure her little boy had enough to eat. Her hands were cracked and rough, but when they touched Rayyan's head, they felt softer than silk. Every morning she woke up before sunrise, cooked a simple breakfast, and watched her son leave for school. His laughter filled the air, giving her strength to face another day. She would wave until he disappeared down the road, then fold her hands and whisper a quiet prayer, "Ya Allah, protect my son. Keep him safe. Give him a good life." Rayyan was a bright student. He loved to learn, and his teachers often praised him. Whenever he brought home a good report card, Amina's eyes filled with tears. "You will become a great man, my son," she would say proudly. "One day you will lift us out of this hardship." Years passed. Rayyan grew into a tall, handsome young man with dreams bigger than his small village. He wanted to go to the city, study in college, and build a successful life. Amina was proud, but deep inside, she feared the distance that would come between them. When the day finally arrived, she packed his few clothes in an old bag and tied her life's savings in a small cloth. Handing it to him, she smiled weakly. "This isn't much, but it's all I have. Use it wisely, and don't forget your prayers." Rayyan hugged her tightly, feeling her trembling hands on his back. "I'll call you every day, Ami," he promised. As he walked away, Amina stood by the door, watching his figure fade down the dusty road. Her eyes glistened with pride and pain. She whispered softly, "May every step you take be blessed, my son." When he disappeared from sight, silence filled the little house. She sat near the window, holding his childhood photo close to her chest. The world outside was moving forward, but inside that small home, time seemed to stand still. That night, as the moonlight poured through the cracks in the wall, Amina folded her hands once again. Her voice trembled as she whispered her nightly prayer. "Ya Allah, my son is far away now. Watch over him when I cannot. Let my silent prayer reach him wherever he goes." Her tears fell quietly on the Florentine, unheard, but her love traveled farther than she could ever imagine. Life in the city was everything Rayyan had dreamed of: bright lights, tall buildings, and endless opportunities. At first, he called his mother Amina every evening, sharing stories about his classes and new friends. Her voice over the phone was soft and filled with joy. "I'm so proud of you, my son," she would say, her heart glowing with hope. But as months passed, Rayyan became busier. His studies, part-time job, and the excitement of city life slowly pushed his mother's voice into the background. Days turned into weeks without a single call. Amina would wait by the old phone every evening, her hands trembling with anticipation. Sometimes she picked up the receiver just to make sure it still worked. When the silence became too heavy, she would whisper to herself, "He must be busy. My son is working hard," yet in her heart she longed to hear his voice, to know if he was eating well, if he was happy. Rayyan, meanwhile, was changing. He wore new clothes, spoke differently, and rarely mentioned his village. When his friends asked about his family, he would smile faintly and say, "Just my mother, back home." One night, while studying late, Rayyan's phone rang. It was his mother. Her voice was tired, but full of love. "I just wanted to hear you, beta. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Ami," he replied quickly, glancing at his friends. "I'll call later." Then he hung up. Amina sat in silence, staring at the phone. Her heart ached, but she smiled faintly and said her prayer again. "Ya Allah, take care of my son. Even if he forgets me, never let him forget your mercy." Her love spoke in silence, strong, pure, and endless. Months turned into years, and Rayyan rarely visited his village. The city had changed him completely. Success filled his life, but a quiet emptiness followed him everywhere. Sometimes, in the middle of a busy street, he would hear his mother's voice in his mind, soft, gentle, calling his name. Back in the village, Amina had grown weak. Her hair had turned grey, her hands thin and tired. Yet every evening she still sat by the window, waiting. She no longer expected a phone call, only prayed silently. "Keep him safe, Ya Allah, that's all I ask." One winter night, as the wind howled outside, Amina lit a small candle and held Rayyan's old photo. Tears rolled down her wrinkled cheeks. "My son must be happy," she whispered, her voice breaking at that very moment, far away in the city. Rayyan felt a strange heaviness in his heart. He didn't know why, but suddenly he missed his mother deeply. He looked at his phone, hesitated, and then whispered, "Tomorrow, I'll call her tomorrow." But sometimes tomorrow comes too late while a mother's silent prayer still waits in the dark, whispering love across the distance. The next morning, Rayyan woke with an uneasy feeling. He couldn't focus on work. Something in his heart felt heavy. Suddenly, his phone rang. It was a call from his village. A neighbor's trembling voice spoke, "Rayyan, your mother is very sick. You must come quickly." His world froze. Guilt and fear rushed through him as he packed his bag and boarded the first bus home. Every mile felt endless. He stared out the window, memories flooding his mind, his mother's laughter, her gentle touch, her voice saying, "Don't forget your prayers." When Rayyan finally reached the village, dusk had fallen. He ran through the familiar dusty street and burst into the small house. There she was, Amina, lying still on her bed, her breathing faint, her eyes opened slightly, and a weak smile crossed her face. "My son," she whispered, tears glistening, You came. Rayyan fell to his knees, holding her fragile hand. I'm sorry, Amy, I should have been here. She smiled softly and whispered, I prayed for you, always. As her hand slipped from his, the candle beside her flickered and went out. Her silent prayer had reached heaven,